Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/Am I the Butthole, where OP gets so upset that he literally tells his mom, "You already lost 2 kids. Do you really want to lose a third?" Our first Reddit post comes from Putrid, titled, "Am I the butthole for not skipping my stepson's graduation even though his mom is threatening to make a scene?" I have been married to my husband for 5 years now. His son, who's 17, is graduating high school next month. I met him when he was 11. I've never tried to be his mom, and we took things slow, and over the years, we've built a decent relationship. I help out where I can, mostly behind the scenes, like rides, school stuff, dinner when he's over. He's casually called me his bonus mom a couple of times, which I took as a good sign. However, his mom, Jan, has never liked me. She's never been openly hostile, but always cold and dismissive. I've never pushed her, though. No drama, no trying to parent her kid, just tried to be supportive when he's with us. Anyway, he told us that he wants me at his graduation. He said it directly and saved me a ticket. A week later, my husband gets a call from the school, and apparently Jan emailed them and said only she and my husband would be attending and that I shouldn't be allowed because of, quote, family issues. We had no idea that she did this. My husband called the school to clear it up, and when we asked her about it, she basically said that I was overstepping and that graduation is for his, quote, real family. She told someone in the family that if I show up, she might leave or worse, not let her son attend. Her son still wants me there though. He even told his dad, "Don't let her ruin it." My husband fully supports me going, but now a couple of his relatives are telling me that I should just stay home and avoid the drama. Guess who called them about it? I get that it's a sensitive day, but I'm not there to make a statement. I just want to show up, support him, and leave quietly like everyone else. Am I the butthole for insisting on going? OP, absolutely not the butthole. For one, the son wants you to go, so that's reason enough for you to go because it's his graduation and he wants you there. Secondly, if you cave in on this, there's no telling what other events in the future she's going to play this card to, and she's going to think that she can just one-up you with this anytime there's a family event for literally anything in the future. So you cannot set this precedent that this is going to stop you from going to special events for him. So definitely not the butthole. Don't let her win. Our next Reddit post comes from Straight Profile 877, titled, "Am I the butthole for not properly telling my acquaintance that the dish they ordered would be stinky?" Recently, I went out with a friend, A, and an acquaintance, A's friend, who we'll call B, to eat Korean food. While A and I are both Australians and B is from Ireland, I am half Korean ethnically, and a part of the reason why we were eating Korean was because my friend was curious and wanted me to give some recommendations for what he and B could try, lol. I suppose that this was mentioned to B because while I was driving them to the restaurant, he asked me when I had moved from Korea, among other things, and when I explained to him that I grew up here and only had Korean heritage, he made a comment about how I wasn't really Korean then and asked if I even knew anything about Korea. Since I was focused on driving, I just said something about how I'd grown up with the culture, but I didn't really focus on it at the time. Anyways, when we arrived at the restaurant and read the menu, I tried my best to give them some pointers and explain some Korean culture stuff as well, like why our chopsticks are metal, but eventually B settled on a dish called cheonggongjang, which, if you don't know, is the soybean stew, which is really, really stinky. Like, even my grandmother refuses to make it because she can't handle the stench. When I warned B that the smell might be too overpowering, he asked if, quote, I had even eaten this dish before. So I explained that although I hadn't eaten it personally, the stew was pretty notorious for its stench and that I wouldn't recommend it, especially for a Westerner like B. I guess the last part might have come off as pretentious, maybe, because B made a comment about how I should stop, quote, acting Korean, and that he could handle it. I figured he wouldn't listen, so I was just like, don't say I didn't warn you, and shifted the conversation. Unsurprisingly, at least for me, he couldn't eat it at all and had to send it back and order something else. I won't lie, I was a bit amused, but I was also trying to avoid the stench, so I didn't say anything and tried to be polite for the rest of our meal. The mood was pretty much spoiled, though, and when we finished, he said that he wanted to take the bus with A instead of being driven home by me, and we parted ways. After I got back home, A told me that although B was a bit of a butthole, I should have been more assertive when explaining to B that he wouldn't like it and that he might have thought I was egging him on. Also, apparently B is pissed off because he thinks that I was trying to bait him into eating this dish and made him waste money on it. And that I was being petty after his comment about me not really being Korean. So should I have tried harder to dissuade B from ordering this dish? Definitely not the butthole. Screw this guy, OP. You could have said anything under the sun and it wouldn't have mattered in his mind because you're not Korean anyway, at least according to him. So screw him. He made his bed. He can lie in it. He was being a complete butthole to you about your own heritage. So, he honestly got what he deserved. Our next Reddit post comes from Mocha Meme, titled, "Am I the butthole for telling my mom, you lost 2 kids, do you want to lose another?" when she threatened to kick me out? Prefacing this with the fact that there is a lot of abuse in history that I can't cram into a Reddit post. My mom, who's 50, has always had problems with substance abuse as well as an untreated mental illness. After a few times of her getting drunk, one of which ended in a hospital visit, she vowed not to buy alcohol for herself. Her mental illness has led to abuse, mostly mental, of me, who's a 20-year-old female, and my sister, who's 17. The night of Mother's Day, my mom started drinking. She got inebriated. Every time she is drunk, it is a traumatic trigger for me. She lied to me and said that she had 2 shots. Later, she seemed more drunk, so I checked the trash and found 10 shot bottles. I confronted her again and said that I wanted better for her and that she agreed to not have alcohol. She began to vent. She vents to me without my consent pretty often and screamed to me about the death of my siblings, which I did not know that was why she was drinking. This argument got heated, so I decided to go on a drive. Contacted my partner, who's 19, who offered to let me stay the night at his place. I accepted and went home to grab my things. My mother confronted me again. I said that I was going to my partner's house and she threatened to kick me out of her home. She has done this on several occasions, then later told me that she, quote, never means it and says that it only instills the fear of God in me. When I came home, we had a discussion that I thought would fix things a little. I said that it would be good for us to keep the alcohol out of the house and I could help find resources for therapy for her. She agreed to the alcohol but declined therapy sternly. I also asked to not be threatened with homelessness, which she did not seem receptive to. Went to work the next day and came home. She begins an argument with me and states that, quote, if I wanted to not be homeless so bad, why doesn't she leave me the house and take my sister with her? I asked if she would give me enough time to get a better job. She said, I don't know. I told her if she would leave me high and dry without that, which would be the same as being homeless, she would be throwing away the future that she wanted for me. I would have to drop out of college to work, basically, and I would go no contact. She did not have remorse, and things got very heated until I said, you lost 2 kids, do you want to lose another? In reference to going no contact with her. I don't know if she interpreted it as that, though, or taking my own life. She was, for a lack of better word, flabbergasted. I said I didn't want to pluck at your heartstrings, but maybe that's what I needed to get my point across. She said, that wasn't a pluck, that was a fatal blow. I have since apologized for what I said over text, as I haven't been home as of the time of posting this. I have a backup plan, and I might be too jaded to tell if I was really disrespectful or rightfully standing up for my well-being, but please, gentle answers, please. I am very upset and kind of scared right now. Let me know down in the comments if you think differently, but honestly, I don't think you're the butthole here. I mean, what you said was incredibly harsh, especially if, one of the kids isn't, around anymore because they passed away. But I mean, you can only take years and years of abuse for so long until you finally, say something like that. And that's the harsh reality of it. If you're going to keep abusing your kids like that mentally and threatening them with homelessness, yeah, you might lose a third by going no contact. And that's super hard to hear, and it sucks to say out loud, but I don't think you're the butthole for letting her know the reality of that. Our next Reddit post comes from Benjamin I, titled, Am I the butthole for not letting my husband with $13K in debt have access to my credit card? Okay, so my husband, who's 36, and me, who's 33, keep getting into arguments over money, especially getting him onto my credit card as an authorized user. I've got a 0 credit score because I immigrated here to the US and only just managed to open a line of credit. I wasn't even able to finance a car without huge interest on it. Only one bank even accepted me. So I'm still without a car. He has not been good with his credit history, racking up $13K of debt with American Express before we had met, which he has yet to pay off. I suggested to him that he should see if he can improve it with a credit builder loan, but I am not comfortable with him being on my credit card or having my credit card details in his phone. He responds with saying married couples should be sharing assets and building credit together. Is it a given that spouses should have shared credit? Because I'm trying to establish my own credit history, and I cannot risk a bad credit score if he racks up debt without the means of paying it off. At the same time, I feel guilty because he did support me when I wasn't able to work before I got employment authorization. So am I the butthole here for protecting my own interests? OP, you took the words right out of my mouth. You said them. Credit cards are debt. Credit cards are not assets. It's not like you're talking about a house, right? Putting both of your names on a house, if you were to apply for one, would make sense, right? But credit cards are debt. They're not an asset. He only wants it honestly, to spend it. And if I were you, I wouldn't trust him either. He needs to pay off his own debts before racking up yours. Your credit score, regardless if you're married, are completely separate between you and your partner. And if your partner has terrible credit, God, one of you at least needs to have good credit. So no, OP, definitely not the butthole for not putting him on your credit card. And I would not put him on your credit card at all costs. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/Am I the Butthole. Thank you all so much for listening. And if you like these videos, like and subscribe as we post a new Reddit video almost every single day.